And so these are the questions that you were asked last time. Okay, let's do some questions, and these are the questions. All right. So here's the assigned the question. The question number one says, suppose the market demand for milk is the let me just use some let me use the let me share the screen. Let me share the document, not the screen. But we can just solve from the same document. A minute. Okay. Where is the paper? It's here. All right. Are you able to see the question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, these are the questions that I had given you last time to try on, but I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. Very few people tried out these questions, but I'm willing to still explain them. Let me just give an amplification to this, and this is what is there. All right. Question says, suppose the market demand for milk is given as the quantity demanded is equal to 1,000 minus the 250p, and then the quantity supplied function is equal to 150p. Okay. Then the question is, find the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price in the market. What do we do? Anybody? You're free to explain. What do you think we can do from here for us to find the equilibrium quantity and the equilibrium price?
Equate the equation.
Okay, so we know that the quantity demanded is equal to what? To the quantity supplied, isn't it? So quantity demanded, let's say, is 1,000 minus 250p. That should be equal to 150 what? P. Okay. So from there, we can solve for P. So we have 1,000. That should be equal to 150p plus 250p. Maybe someone might be asking, Wasa, where did the 50p, the 250p come from? It has crossed the equal sign, okay, from this side. This is the same, but it's become positive because it has crossed the equal sign. And so you will have 1,000, right? 1,000, that is equal to, what is 150 plus the 250? Hello? 150 plus 250. 400. 400. We divide through by 400. We divide through by what? By 400 from there. So therefore, our P shall be equal to what? What is 1,000 divided by 400?
$2.5.
2.5. So this is called the equilibrium price. So right? Therefore, the equilibrium price is equal to what? 2.5. Any question? Is there any question? Oh, there is no question. Now, we can find the equilibrium quantity using any of the two equations, either the supply one or the quantity demanded one, the demand equation. You can choose the equation. The answers are always the same. Tasha, choose the equation.
Sorry, sir, I'm on the road. I didn't even hear what you said.
Okay, I was saying you can choose any of these two equations to give us the equilibrium quantity.
Between the quantity demand and the quantity supply?
Choose one.
Let's use the quantity demand.
Okay, so quantity demanded is equal to 1,000 minus 250. Where there is P, we'll put 2.5, the equilibrium price, and we'll have quantity demanded equal to 1,000. What is the 250 times 2.5? Anyone? 250 times 2.5.
625.
625. Thank you. And what is the difference between these two so that you can get the quantity demanded?
$375.
Sorry?
$375, sir.
375. Okay.
Yes, please.
Is that clear? Is there any question? You can always ask your questions. You can ask the questions, make your questions known unto the star so that you can always attend to them.
So what are we
Any
solving for
question?
this? The 375?
The quantity demanded. Since the question says the equilibrium quantity actually. The question asked you to find, you're seeing the question in the background, isn't it? It says find the equilibrium quantity and the price, or the equilibrium price in the market. You get it, right?
Yes,
so the
sir.
equilibrium price we have already solved, we found 2.5, and now the equilibrium quantity is 375. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the second question says, graphically illustrate your answer. You're supposed to read your answer. So you have to illustrate this on a graph. Think you remember what we said last time? I said we know that a graph, to remind you, a graph is always like this. That's for the demand and for supply. This is the equilibrium, okay, market, the equilibrium in the market. So there is always this price here, which is called the equilibrium price, and you've found the 2.5, isn't it? 2.5 as the equilibrium price. Then you have found the 375 as the equilibrium quantity. But what you have to bear in mind is that there are intercepts. The intercept simply means the last number here on the horizontal axis, the intercept here. There is also the last price here, the maximum price on the vertical axis. How do you get to know? How do you know the quantity, the intercept along the horizontal axis and the intercept along the axis? Is that clear? The price is always along the vertical axis. Is that clear? We have to graph. So let's graph. So to start with, we already know the equilibrium price, we already know the equilibrium quantity, but we need the intercept, okay? The intercept. So we can pick the demand equation, and when you pick the demand equation now, what you'll be looking for, you want to know the quantity, right? The quantity which is an intercept. So if you want to know the quantity which is an intercept, you set price equal to 0. Is that clear? If you want to get the intercept for quantity here, you set price equal to 0. Okay? Set price equal to 0. So therefore, the quantity demanded shall be equal to 1,000 minus 200 times 0 and that will give you 1,000. Is that clear? So it means the intercept on the horizontal axis is 1,000, right? That's the last number here, like last number here, 1,000. We know that the 375 is just in between, like the quantity that brings the market into equilibrium. Any question? You really need to understand. So that's why I'm trying to move as slow as I can. Is there any question? Madam Sala, any question? Okay.
No question.
All right. Thank you. Let's find, we have found the quantity demanded to be 1,000. Now we also need the price, okay? So using the same equation, now we want the price. If you want the price, you set quantity equal to 0, okay? So when you set the quantity equal to 0, you have 0 equal to 1,000 minus 250p, right? When you collect like terms together, what are you going to have? You will have what? You have 250p equal to 1,000.
Yes, sir.
And you divide through by 250 through by 250. What is the p, the maximum p, like the intercept? It's 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it simply means that here on the vertical axis, the maximum we can go is 4 quarters. That's the maximum price. That's the intercept. So found the intercept, right? You've managed to find the intercept. So it becomes very easy to move from there, right? Just very easy. As simple as ABC. So from there, I can call for a question. So you can see that now you can put your graph properly. Since we have now all the details, you can properly put your graph. And your graph shall be properly put as this one. All right. Quantity demanded here you have 1,000, right? And on the vertical axis, you have 4 quarters. Then you have supply, demand. The price is 2.5. And the quantity is what? 375, isn't it? We have 0. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
That is how your graph. So I've illustrated your answer. From mathematical equation, from those equations, it has now moved into a graph. And that is the idea. Mr. Nando, do you have any questions, sir?
No questions, sir.
There is no question. Okay. Danji, you're welcome in the meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. And I will share the recording. I will share the recording. Just pick it up from here, then you will follow it through.
Okay.
So from here, let's answer the other question. Question B says, calculate the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. Let me begin by teaching what these two mean. Okay. We start with consumer surplus. Consumer surplus, it is the difference between how much people are willing to pay and what they actually pay for a commodity. Okay, the difference between how much people are willing to pay and what they actually pay. For example, you're selling, what are you selling? Pick anything to sell. Madam Mlenga, pick anything to sell.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. So let's say you are selling a box of tomatoes at actually 150, let's say, or 300 kwacha. Then people are willing, okay? People are willing to buy that box of tomato or the tray at 500 kwacha, right? They are willing, like they're saying, we are willing and we're capable of paying up to 5. The maximum they are willing to pay is 500. Okay. Should it go beyond, they won't be willing to pay. Then you will charge them what? 300 kwacha, right? Then the difference is what is called the consumer surplus. It will be 200 kwacha. That money which will remain in their pocket. You want to buy a computer, you want to buy a laptop or something. So as you go to town, there is a limit that you set for yourself. You're like, okay, the computer that I'm going to buy is of this model, is maybe Apple Max or something, or is the HP of such the specifications. Then you even sit down and you're like, okay, I'll be willing to get that computer if at all it does not exceed this much. Okay, you're going to set the maximum from home when you go. I'll be willing to. You won't just go and say, okay, we'll buy whatever the amount it will be. No, usually there is okay. It can't go beyond this. If it goes beyond this, then I won't buy. I'll only buy if it will go up to this much. Okay. So you go, you are planning, okay, I want to get a computer, I want to get a laptop. Then I'm willing to pay for that laptop for up to 15,000, right? Then when you go there, you find that laptop actually is just 10,000. So you have a difference of what? 5,000, right? That 5,000 is what is called the consumer surplus. So now, always when you are pricing, whenever you are pricing, ensure that you do not stack all this consumer surplus from your consumers. That is very necessary, because consumers will always be happy to know that they are willing to pay more, but something is charged less than that. And again, there is a danger if you charge exactly what they are willing to pay. For example, you find that they're willing to pay 1,000 and you charge exactly 1,000, which simply means any slightly change, they are not going to. And if someone has paid exactly what they are willing to pay, you know what happens? Okay, let me just throw this to class. Class, what do you think happens? How do you treat something that you have bought at the price that you exactly expected? How do you treat that thing? Or maybe the question has not been heard. How treasurable does that thing become to you when you have exactly what you were expecting to spend, and that's exactly you have paid? Because what you are willing to pay is the value that you are deeming, like you're deeming this thing, okay, it should go up to this value. I think the value of this thing is this much. Then you get exactly that much. People don't want to answer.
Maybe we're not
All right.
understanding the question.
Not understanding the question. Okay, maybe let me bring it to this situation so that you understand. You know what happens when people have gotten some cheap things that they deem cheap. Even the way how you keep those things that you deem cheap, like it's different, okay? Because what you spend to get that thing, like you know, it's something that didn't even come to your mind very much, that, oh, I've spent this much to get this thing, what, you get it, right? You do not attach a lot of value to something that you have paid way less than what you expected. But there are those things that where you have spent exactly what you expected, so you attach a lot of value to that thing. All right? I'll give you an example. Something that you have gotten, which almost got all the money that you had in your pocket. Obviously, you will attach more value, right, to that thing. But the problem is, if that thing, like the price of that thing was exactly the same as what you expected, or as what you had set as the limit, you become so strict to an extent whereby, should you experience any simple challenge, you are quickly willing to go back to the suppliers and say, no, you're seeing is a problem, or it's giving me a problem, because you know you paid all what you had for that thing. But if you didn't pay enough, what usually happens is, if something has given you much pressure, obviously, after all, I didn't even spend very much for this thing. You get it? It doesn't pain you. Okay? So the message is, when you are pricing, always ensure that there is some consumer surplus. Leave something. Okay, let the customer come back with some change. But again, not too much, but just some change. Very, very necessary. Is that clear?
Yes,
I think
sir.
you have understood about consumer surplus. Producer surplus. When we talk about producer surplus, with this one, what it entails, or what it implies, this one applies to the producers. This is the difference between how much the producers are willing to supply the thing, and what they actually get when they supply. For example, the consumers say they are willing to supply a laptop at 5,000. They are willing. That's what they are willing. But you find that they have supplied it at what? At 7,000. Of course, there is that thing whereby the people who sell, those producers now, even when they are pricing, they are likely to start somewhere at a price that is a little bit higher, so that when you are negotiating, because there are some people that that are just there to negotiate. Even if you say something is for free, they are willing even to negotiate something for free.
They give you a move.
Like, people are just difficult. You get it? It's in human beings. They always want to negotiate. So always we are aware as producers. So what you do, you set the price a little bit higher, so that when they negotiate, it comes somewhere. But again, you set the limit down, right? That is what you are willing to. You say, okay, even if they negotiate, I can't charge below this amount, all right? I can't charge below this amount. So there is now that difference whereby you tell them that you say, okay, I cannot charge below 5,000. Then you have managed to sell that same laptop at 7,000, which means you have a surplus of what? Of 2,000 kwacha as a consumer. Sorry, as a producer. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. Guys, did you have any question?
No, sir.
You don't have a question on the consumer and producer surplus?
No, sir.
Okay, then we can show you now how to calculate. The question being to say what is. So that's why you have to pay attention to questions, right? How they are phrased. The question is not saying what is consumer surplus and what is the producer. It says calculate. You have to calculate now. See how we calculate. Get it now. Let's start from the consumer surplus, right? Consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is always given by the area of A. How do you do this? Okay. If I did computers, you can still do this. Okay, it was come back. All right. Here's what is there. You have this. There is this area. You've seen, right? This area that is above. It is above the equilibrium price, but bound by the demand curve. The area that is marked by the vertical axis, and it is below the demand curve, and it is above the equilibrium price. This area, okay, this area, when you calculate for this area is equal to the consumer surplus. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
So let's calculate for this area. If you look at this shape, what shape is this? What shape is this? It is the shape.
Triangle.
It's a triangle, right? This is a triangle. Okay. And as you do the triangles, you remember that the formula that you use for a triangle, the area of a triangle is half bs, right? Half times base times the height, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So when you look at this one is going to be your height. This one will be your base. All right. So let's start by finding the base. The base is the area from here, from this point up to this point. So you find it along the horizontal axis, this area. How many units are there? 375, isn't it? From 0
Yes.
to 370. That's the area. So that's your base. So you have half times the 375 times the height. The height is the difference between this equilibrium price and the maximum price, which is 4. What is the difference between 4 and 2.5? That difference is that area, that height.
1.5.
1.5. Are you all finding the same? Okay. So you can see that this is as good as writing this by dividing by 2, right? It's just the same thing. You know that this is for everything. Is for the whole lot of this, according to what you learned in math. So it's better just bring the 2 right there. So you can still write it as the base times height divided by 2. It's just the same formula. So what is the area? 375 times 1.5 divided by 2. What is the area? Hello? What is the area?
I found 281.25.
281.25.
25.
What about others? We can prove by others calculating as well. Do you have anyone else calculating? Three 375 times 1.5, then divided by 2. You have found the same. Thank you. So let's now say that that is okay because people have proven it. So you can just say unit squared. Okay. You know that all areas are always squared. This is an area, so you get that as your consumer surplus. So you write therefore consumer surplus, write in full, cannot see it. It is equal to 281.25 units. Is that clear? Is there any question? Hello? So I can repeat saying what I said. I said to find the consumer surplus is just basically calculate the area, calculate for the area of this shape, okay? For the triangle, this triangle, all right, that is made up by the area that is just above the equilibrium price, just below the demand curve, and in between the vertical axis, that area. Calculate for that area, and I've shown you what the base is, what the height is. The base is always from 0 here up to here, this first number up to this equilibrium quantity. That is your base. Then the height will be the difference from this intercept minus the equilibrium price. Is that clear?
Yes.
All right. Assuming there is no any other question, we can move on and find the producer surplus. Let's find the producer surplus now. The formula is still the same. For the producer surplus, it is basically the area. Let me shade it by black. This area now. Okay, I'm sure I'm assuming that you're able to see the area that I'm shading. The area that is below the equilibrium price, it is above the supply curve. It is also marked by the vertical axis. That area between the vertical axis, above the supply curve, and below the equilibrium price. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And again, it's still the triangle. You can see that this is a triangle still. It's still the triangle. This one is now your height. It's still your height. This one is still the base. So you find that the base is still the same. 375 times the height. Now the height will be this one from 0 up to 2.5, which shall be 2.5, right? And you divide that by 2. What is the producer surplus?
$468.75.
468.75.
Yes,
Who
sir.
else is finding it? Who else is finding the same? Someone else can still prove and find the same answer, then we can move.
It's the same, sir.
It's the same?
It's the same.
All right. 468.75 units squared. That is the producer surplus. Is there any question? This is what I expected you of doing. Okay. There is another question on the elasticity of demand, which was question number 2. Suppose the price of the commodity rises from, let's say P1 from what? 6, P2, 10, isn't it? Per unit. And as a result, the quantity demanded falls from Q1, 120 to what? Q2, 80 units, isn't it? Then the question says, calculate for the price elasticity of demand. We have to calculate for the price elasticity of demand using the ARC method. You remember the Ike method that that we said that elasticity of price using the Ike method is equal to Q2 minus Q1 over P2 minus P1 multiplied by what? By no, P1 plus P2 divided by Q1 plus Q2. Remember that this is the formula that we gave to you on ACT method, isn't it? Yes, sir. So you can say, what is Q2? It is 8, right? 8 minus 120 over the price is 10 minus 6 multiplied by 6 plus 10. 6 plus 10, those are prices, price 1 plus price 2, over 120 plus the 80. All right? So from there, what do we do? From there, you know, what is 80 minus 120? Hello, 80 minus 120?
Negative 40.
Negative 40 divided by 10 minus 6 is 4, multiplied 16 over 200, isn't it? 120 plus 80 is 200. So how do you go about this? We know that we can easily say from basic mathematics, 4 into 4, 1, 4 into 16 is 4, right? 0 into 0, 0. We have negative 4 over 20, right? And we can say 4 into 4 is 1, isn't it? Negative 1 over 4 into 25. So what is the negative 1 divided by 5? We have just reduced the equation. Negative 1 divided by 5. So negative what?
Negative 0.2.
Negative 0.2. And I did say that this, since this is price elasticity of demand, you should always pre-multiply the negative sign by negative 1 so that you can always have a positive, an absolute figure. Because the answer will always be negative. That's what I said. The answer will always be negative, but this negative always depicts the relationship that exists between the price and the quantity demanded. We know that there is that inverse relationship. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. I wanted to find out, were we multiplying 4 times, negative 4 times 4?
Did we consider? Oh, we didn't consider 4i.
No.
This other 4. Thank you for reminding. There is this negative 4 here and this other 4. So negative 4 times negative 4 is negative 16, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Negative 16 over 20. Thank you for the observation. And the, okay. So what do we have? We can say 4 into this one goes 4 times, right? 4 into 20 goes 5 times. So we have negative what?
0.8.
Negative 0.3. When it is pre-multiplied by negative, it shall be positive 0.8, right?
Yes,
0.8. I said that this other negative should always be, is always there to depict the inverse relationship that exists between price and quantity demanded. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do I have a question from anyone? You can ask your question. Okay. Since there is no question, we can move on and comment on the midpoint point elasticity of demand. So for the point, we said the formula is given as Q2 minus C, Q1 divided by P2 minus C, P1, right? Multiplied by P1 over Q1, as simple as it is. So Q2 is the 80 minus the 120 over 10 minus the 6 times price 1 is what? 6 over 120. Okay? We can proceed. What do you have? We have negative 40 over what? Over 4 times 6 out of 1. Right? We know that the, how can we cancel this? We can say 0 into 0 is 0, but, right? 4 into 4 and 1. So I have negative 6 over 12, right? Where I can say 6 into 6 is negative 1 over 2, right? That will give us negative 0.5 multiplied by negative 1, then we'll have 0.5. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You're finding it difficult to do multiplication. You can just say, go straight, say 40 times 60, it will give you some number over 4 times 120, you get the number, then you divide like that, it still gives you 0.5, since you are allowed to use calculators. But these methods, canceling, you do them when you think, when you assume you don't have a calculator, but you always have a calculator in these exams. Any question?